Today's workshop is one of the precursors to the International Women's Day celebration, which is going to be on Monday. But we're having this series of workshops because it helps us to prepare for the event proper on Monday. And we're having fantastic speakers to pretty much get us into the celebration spirit. So we are partnering with Women Tech Makers, and this year's theme is Redefine Possible. And we have a sponsor for this year. It's Alio. I mean, if we were in a physical event, I'd have said, let's give a warm round of applause for Alio for sponsoring this year's event. It's not easy being part of events like this that ensure that we are expanding the spaces and opportunities that women and minority groups have in the tech space. So Alio is our sponsor this year. We are proud to collaborate and partner with them, and we're grateful that they're able to support initiatives like this. So again, welcome to today's workshop. The code of conduct, just before we start today, just some housekeeping rules, things to keep in mind as we collaborate and engage with one another on today's workshop. We're committed to providing a friendly, safe, and welcoming environment, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, ability, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, and religion or lack thereof. We encourage us to participate in an authentic and active way, and in doing so, we contribute to the health and the longevity of our community. Please exercise consideration and respect in your speech and actions. Please attempt collaboration before conflict. Please refrain from demeaning, discriminatory, or harassing behavior and speech. And please be mindful of your fellow participants. Thank you. So, this year's event, International Women's Day, is annually done by GDG Cloud Edmonton. It's a community here in Edmonton, and we partner with, well, it's the same group. Women Tech Makers is also a Google community. GDG Cloud Edmonton is also a Google community, and we are an official chapter of the Google's worldwide network of cloud enthusiasts, developers, data scientists, and engineers. And mostly, at least in the past 2-3 years, these are the people you would find regularly at many of our events. So International Women's Day, DevFest, many of our machine learning study jams. You'll find Vanya, who is the lead for this chapter, GDG Cloud Edmonton. And then you find Rohan, you find myself, and Devi Priya. But behind the scenes, there are many, many volunteers that we work with and many other partners that we work with. You may not see them at the events, but we're a big chapter, we're a big group. Okay, so there are lots of people in the background, but mostly you'll find these usual suspects at every event. And if you'd like to join us, we will share the Slack channel, the code for joining the group, and the Slack channel so that you can keep up to date and volunteer if you would like to do so. We would like to acknowledge that we are based on traditional lands, referred to as Treaty 6 territory, a traditional meeting ground, gathering place, and traveling routes to the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nakota Sioux. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands since time immemorial. And for today's event, so our workshop today in partnership with Alio is brought to you with the very, I mean, like I read her bio and I was amazed. Our speaker today is going to help us understand how to code smarter, not harder, and how to build AI-driven apps with Gemini. It is my pleasure to introduce Naz Zareen Oishi. She's a software engineer at Siemens. R&D, research and development, where she works on electronic design, automation. During her graduate studies in computer science, she conducted research in AI and ML, and she published multiple papers. Passionate about building with the latest technologies, she also enjoys sharing her enthusiasm with the tech community, like she's doing today. And through content and videos, she has spoken at various events on AI, Python, and women empowerment. Furthermore, Naz has a strong dedication to community building, serving as a Google Developer Group's lead, as well as a Women Tech Makers ambassador and a mentor. She strives to create inclusive spaces for learning, connection, and growth. Please welcome Naz.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction. That was really nice. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. So, I'll share my screen and yeah, let's start. I'm gonna share my whole screen because I'm gonna also like do the demo. So, let me know if you see my slides. Adele, should I start? Can you see my slides?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So today what we are going to talk about is how we can code smartly. Um, as from the beginning of the technology era, I think the people who used to code, like if I talk with people who are from 80s and 90s and they used to talk like code, the senior members of my team, it was always like they have to code very hard. They have to go through a lot of stuff. They had to wait for a very long time for builds. But today, we don't have to code that much hard because now we have a lot of tools to support us. And now I think what we can do is we can code smartly because we can take help from those tools and we can boost our productivity. So today we are mainly going to talk about that, and we will also see hands-on that how we can build AI-driven apps with Gemini. So why I am here and who I am I and why I'm talking about this is because I'm a software engineer. Already I got a very nice introduction. Thank you for that. So yeah, as mentioned, I have a CS degree. I'm doing a software engineering job. I work on electronic design automation tools. I love to build community, and I am the lead of GDG Saskatoon. I'm also an organizer of GDG Ottawa, where I work uh, remotely. And then I love books and plants. If you don't find me anywhere, you will probably find me in a library. And the most important thing is I love coding, and I love to help people who are like beginners or who are already working on it to so that they can be more enthusiastic and the coding path gets more easier for them. So before we start, I want to ask about talk. You can talk if you are here who has worked with AI before. Like anyone? All right. So we see people who have already used AI, and there might be people who are very beginners. So I hope this is gonna help both kind of audiences we have today. So, what we are going to cover today is why we should use AI powered productivity tools. Of course, what is Gemini? We will see some live coding on how we can use Gemini API to build apps and then how we can enhance it. And at last, if you have any questions for me, I will be very happy to answer them. So I think this is a very common picture for every developers. Like, do you remember the times like when we spent like multiple hours debugging a very simple bug? Maybe we missed a semicolon or something. Sometimes we have to start writing a very complex algorithm from scratch, and these are very common in our day-to-day life. So where AI comes, are you tired of doing like repetitive tasks? For example, we have to write tests and they're almost same thing, and we have to do it for different functions, different files, but it's the same thing, and you're being bored because it's the same repetitive task. Are you frustrated with the debugging nightmares? Like maybe you start the day that, hey, it's a simple bug, I'll fix it by an hour or something, but it's the end of the day and you're still stuck. That sounds very common. I have personally worked with legacy codes. Like I in the company I work, um, last month I found some code that I needed to work on, which is written in 2007. And the person who worked on that code has left the company 10 years ago in 2017. So I literally have no idea what's going on that part of the code. And I have to go through documentation or something, but then I didn't find documentation, and it was really hard to understand what is going on there and to update that code so that we can meet our customer need. Now, that is something very frustrating sometimes, and it takes a lot of time where you can be more productive doing something other. Sometimes, like as developers, we are trained to go through documentation. As developers, we always have to keep up with the new emerging techs. And when you are switching to something new, when you are creating something new, you have to know how things work. So sometimes a lot of documentation, you're finding a very simple thing, but you are not finding it, and you're spending a lot of time reading a lot of documentation to just know how to write one line of code. If you work in a company and it has a big database, a big, very big code base, sometimes you find no documentation and you have to go through all those codes, which function is coming from which file, which API is coming from what is this providing, all those documentation. You have to learn that going through the code base or asking someone senior. Those are something that can take a lot of time. And finally, if you're really trying to build something from scratch, you're building a demo maybe for the hackathon, and or you're thinking about doing a startup, or you're doing a demo for investors, or you just want to do a great project for your portfolio, or you really want to start a business where you want a product. In all those cases, AI can really help you. So, why should we use them? They can automate repetitive tasks, they can improve our efficiency and focus, it can boost your productivity, and it can extract insights from large amount of data. So imagine a world where you don't have to do the boring mundane tasks, and you can focus on what really matters, and that is productivity and innovation. So you will be creative, you can spend all your time doing complex things when all the easier, repetitive, and maybe things that you don't need to spend a lot of time on can be done by AI. That sounds amazing, right? So, if you drop on the chat that what task do you think or wish AI could automate? I would really like to know. Does anyone have anything, any task they want to do? Journal to-do list, yes, that is something we can definitely do. It's hard to keep remember all your tasks and then go to the to-do list and do it. Job searching, that's great, yes, we definitely need AI for that. Writing tests, yes, I hate writing tests, but I have to do it because I don't want things to break. Yeah, job application. Brainstorming, right, like AI is really good for brainstorming. Perfect example, migrating code to another language or framework. Yes, these are like really good use cases of AI. Because for job applications, yes, it is a really helpful tool. For migrating code, yes, sometimes we know what we want to do, but maybe we know how to do it in Python. We don't know how to do in CPP. We can definitely ask the AI to, hey, this is the Python code I want. Can you actually do this for CPP? I personally I'm doing this a lot because there's a Lisp based language called Scale, which is not very popular. It is used in mostly the electronic design automation industry. So it's not very common. Google doesn't have a lot of documentation on thing. I cannot Google stuff on that, but I know what I want to do, and I often ask AI like Gemini that I want to do this. The Python code should look like this. Can you convert this as a skill? And yes, it does that for me. Testing, if you're a developer, you know that you have to write tests because you cannot ship a product. You cannot send it to the release without testing. So yeah, it really, really helps there. So yeah, those are very, very good examples. So we're how we can do this, like how we can build those tools for our own way, for our own customized way. We can use Gemini API for that. And what is Gemini? So Gemini is Google's most advanced AI model. It is very, very popular, and a lot of people are using it right now. I hope and I know many of you have already used it, um, and it's super. The great part about it is the natural language understanding and summarization. Like, you can just write a normal prompt in your language. It can be English, it can be the language you talk. There are multiple language supports in Gemini, and it can understand what you're saying. It can generate code, it can generate images, pictures. Sometimes now they're generating videos, and it can help all you with those stuff just by uh, learning your natural language, and it will reply you in natural language. And then it can definitely automate tedious tasks, like note taking. So what the the common question I get from people is it free? So there are free tiers for Gemini API. Gemini Pro is available for free, but it has some rate limits. So requests per minute and per day are limited, and it definitely varies by region, it varies by country, um, and sometimes no access to multimodal on free tier, so you cannot process multi things like text, audio, videos, images in the same way. So that is a limitation. Till now, like when I made the slides like 2 weeks ago, the requirements are this: like requests per minutes were 15, tokens per minutes are 32,000, and per day request were 1,500. But it might get updated with every update. So when you're using this, you can check that if you are in the minute, and you can then Google, or you can actually ask Gemini that what is the limitation in your region or at the date you're working on it. So what we are going to learn today, we are going to see how Gemini can transform messy notes into a structured summary. When you are in a meeting, we all I think we all are in situations like, even here now I'm talking about a lot of things, and you might not catch everything, or sometimes if you focus more on what I am saying and taking the notes, you sometimes miss the important things. Sometimes you miss important discussions or the opportunity to talk about it if you're busy note taking. So I think note taking, like to build an automatic note taking app, is can be very helpful. So that's why I thought I can talk about it today. So if you have like messy notes, you didn't do a lot of things, just you just write what people are saying, it will give you a very structured summaries. It will extract the key actions automatically, and it can help user focused discussion. You can also use the transcribe that we get from different tools like maybe Microsoft Teams or Zoom. If you get the transcription, there might be a 1 hour long meeting, maybe like 5-7 pages of transcription. You don't have time to do read through it and it seems boring. You can just feed it to your this tool, and it will give you a summarization of what happened in that meeting and what are the key actions. So this is gonna you are gonna do, and this is we are gonna see how you can build that. So we are going to do a code walkthrough. So I'm going all of my screens are going to be shared. I'm going to show you how we can do that. But before we start, we have to install some dependencies. Then we also need to set up the Gemini API authentication, that I'll show you how we can do that. And then we can write some prompts and for summarization, and you will be doing this in your own application. So before we go into dependencies, I have done this project in PyCharm. PyCharm is my favorite IDE. If you use VS Code, that is also fine, or any other IDE you use, that is totally fine. I already have this project, but if you're using PyCharm or any other IDE, you can just go to a new project, create a project with Python, and then you can go to the terminal. And I'm not creating it because I have already doing it, but you can just go to the terminal of your project, and then you can just install these dependencies. If you don't have pip, then you might need to install pip first, but when you're installing Python, it should be there. If not, that's fine. So the dependencies we are generating is going to be Google Generative AI. That's where we are going to get the Gemini API from. Then we will be also having a Streamlit that is going to help us to build the UI. And then we are going to use the python.env to save our keys there so that it's not public and not visible. If you don't want to, you definitely can avoid that, but I think that's using a .env file is like a more secure way. So after that, we will go to the how we can set the API key. But before that, I'll stop and take a minute to know if you have any questions. All right, I see there's no question, so I'll go ahead. I will give just 1 minute. So if anyone is doing this workshop with me to install the dependency, I'll just keep this screen for a minute so that people can install these dependencies, and then I will go through how we can set the Gemini API key. So let's wait for a bit. If you're doing this with me, if you're doing this workshop with me, and if you're stuck, let me know. I'll try my best to help you. All right. So then comes the question that how we can create a Gemini API key. So to use a Gemini API, you need the key, and how we can do that is, let me know if you cannot see my screen, but I hope you can. We were gonna go to Google AI Studio. If you go to Google AI Studio, we sign in, and then you will see this screen. You might have to sign in. I'm already signed in. And then here you will see this option to get the API key. If you click on it, there will be another screen, and you will see that I already have some keys built already that I can use, but you can also create a new one. It will tell you the project you have. If you not, you can create one here and create an API key, and it will generate a key for you, and you can copy this, and then you can just copy paste it in your .env file. So it is very easy. So 3 steps: you have to go to Google AI Studio and sign in. You have to click on the get API key. You have to select this, the project, and a API key will be generated for you. So I think that is very easy to do, and it will be like everyone should have done it. If any of you couldn't do it, let me know. I can help you see that. All right. So once we have the dependencies and we have all the API we needed, let's see how we can code through this. So this is the code I'm doing here. If you see, I have just imported the Streamlit that we have dependencies. I have imported the .env file that is here, and then we have the Google Generative AI at Gen AI. I have a .env file where I have the Gemini API key that I have installed um, from my Google AI Studio. So if we go here, we have all the imports, all the dependencies are done, so that's good. Then what we have done here is there is a load.env file which is loading the env file for us, and it is also loading the key for us. And then we can configure the API key with genai.configure. Then I'm going to show you how we can use a Gemini model using just this simple function. It's like a 1, 2, 3, 4 line function. It's really easy, right? So here the model we are using is Gemini 1.5 Pro. This is the model we are getting from the Gemini API that we installed in the generative AI. Second, we are writing a prompt for it. What the prompt is, we are saying that, hey, you are an AI assistant that processes meeting notes. Given the following test, return us a concise summary and a list of key actions. That's a very simple prompt. And then we are going to send the meeting notes as inputs. How? We are going to see later. But this is basically, we are calling a model, we are writing a prompt, and then we are sending this prompt, what we have written here, to the model to generate the content, generate the response. So we are getting the response here, and we are returning the response as text. So this is very simple, just 4 line codes, just 4 line Python code that is almost human readable, that you need to automate the meeting note taking. Okay, so that goes the function. Cool. How we use the UI, like where I am going to input my meeting notes, right? That's the question. For that, and for any kind of demo and anything that doesn't need more customization, my favorite thing is Streamlit, I think it's pronounced. Yes. Streamlit UIs, it is super easy. If you're making a demo and you don't need a customization, you can use it. I have used it because I am not doing a lot of customized things. If you're doing a product and you need really front-end engineers, that is totally fine. But if you do not and you just want to make an app for a demo or an app, that Streamlit is great. Even if you don't want to use Streamlit, you want to do specifically front-end, that is fine. The AI part, the Gemini part, the API part you need is just this 4 line. You can just call this function, get the data, and then you can do anything you want with this data. But this is the part, this is just 4 lines you need for to use the Gemini API. So here I have used in the Streamlit for a very easy UI. I have just set a page. The page title is AI powered meeting notes. Set a title, set a write action, so where I'm going to give the input, added a text area, added a button to generate summary. That's it. And if I just write the command Streamlit, it is the framework we're using, right? Then we are going to run, and we are going to run this script main.py. If we just do that, this is a nice UI running. Give it a minute. Yep, I didn't use any HTML, any CSS, any JavaScript, no front-end library. I have just done this Streamlit code, just this few lines. I added the page title. You can see here this AI-powered meeting notes. I have added a header, AI-powered meeting notes, paste meeting. This is the description here that you can see this. And then I added a text area, which is enter meeting notes. Added a button which will get the data. This is the button. That's it. That's it. And you have a very nice UI, a very nice front end. I didn't use any HTML or CSS or any styling at all. And this is where we are going to give the input. The input that we said we will get from here, this notes. That's what we're going to do here. Now, what I did, I asked Gemini to give me a draft after meeting, messy meeting note. So it did. It is a transcription. So when you have not attended the meeting, you get a transcription, transcribe, and then when you are at the meeting and we want to see it later, we always get that. So this is what our input is gonna be. So he says there is a meeting transcript. It's a date, time, attendees, and what everyone is like. Everyone is talking here. There are five people: Sarah, Michael, Emily, David, and Alex. They have talked about different things. We can see their conversation here. We're going to just copy all this and we're going to paste here. I hope this demo works. Live demos always make me feel nervous. So let's see. AI is processing. We are getting the data from Gemini. We call it the Gemini app. And here you see it summarized it. It gave you a summary that the project is a sync up meeting, discussed progress, this, and what happened in those things. And there we also have the action items like who is gonna do what. Like for Mike, he has to fix a login, logout bugs and session cookie issues and finalize API integration payment API. Emily, the UX designer, had to fix this UI issues and then complete onboarding, and that is due next Tuesday. David, begin QA for new features. Start next Tuesday, pending notifications from Emily. So you can see this is like very detailed action items that are here and that we have did with just 4 lines of code. So this is a note-taking app you have made just 4 lines code, and I think I have done it in maximum 15 to 20 minutes. General sprint review meeting next Monday 10 a.m. It also figured out that, and then it also all attendees updates just before Monday meeting. So you made a note-taking app with me here in this meeting. How cool is that? Yes, I can definitely add those meeting and I can send the slides, no worries. But yeah, this is something you made. Uh, I made without any using any HTML, CSS front end stuff and any hard. It's just now we like it, right? Can we enhance it? Can we add more features? Yes, definitely we can. Some options I thought about the note taking, you can definitely add more things, but for me it was like we can integrate Google Tasks, right? We have this Google Task app. And if you want to add that, yes, this is my action item, add this to my Google Task. That's a good option. We can do that. Add voice to text support. Maybe you don't have the transcript, you have just the recording of the meeting. Upload the recording of the meeting, get the summarization, get the action items. That also sounds cool. Build a real-time collaboration feature that everyone can collaborate what are the next items are, they can collaborate what to do next and take those items and everything. Like you can do anything, the possibilities are endless. What I have done, I have just done here the demo of how you can do the text to speech version. Like if you don't have the meeting notes or transcript, you just have the recording, you can do that or not. Yes, you can. And for that, you need the Google speech to text library in your Google Cloud. I will show you how you can get that API. But first, here is the thing I make, which took me like 10 minutes more. And yeah, here you can see. So here my UI is, what we're going to do is we are going to drop our audio file here. It will give you a transcript, the transcript that we use as an input as our before demo. This is going to give you that transcript from the audio. So you only have the audio, you're going to have the transcript, and then you're going to have the summary. So here we can see, we can browse the file there. We are going to do the process audio. It takes a bit time because it is fetching the data from Gemini. And then you can see that's the transcribed note. what it is said, and then you also have the summarize note. So you enhanced it. Now instead of having the transcript, you can directly upload the recording, and that is it will not take you more than 10 minutes to enhance this feature. So that's cool, right? So for that, I'm not going into details on that, but I will upload this code in my GitHub and you can see how you can do that. I have written a specific functions for that, but I can show you the size of that. So if you want to do that, the only thing you need to do is this 4 lines of code. Transcribe audio, I have written a function. What you're doing here, you're doing the generic, like you're getting the GCP API, like the Google Cloud Platform API, and then you are going to send Gemini the API, the audio file as an input. This is going to uh, give you the response. That's it. That is that easy. So this is the 4 lines of code where you're connecting your API code, you're opening the audio file, you recognize the content, you're setting the settings, like if you have like a mp3 audio, you're going to do that. If you have a different format, you have to use that format, your heart rate and your language code. This is the thing you need to send, and there if and it will recognize it and it will send it back, and this is the transcript. And then do the same code that we do before, right? Just summarize the following meeting notes, do the same thing, and it will give you the summary. It's that easy. And the Streamlit front end that I showed you, that is also the small part of code. I know it might seem a little bit more after seeing the previous code. That's why I'm not going to very deep into it, but I will have this in GitHub and you can definitely take a look. Um, so I will stop at this point and check for if you have any questions. Oh, cool. I'm really glad that you feel this is cool and you can make it. It's like super easy.
Thanks, Naz. I was just going to ask if you were going to share the project, but you just said you would, yeah, send it
Yeah, after
into
this meeting,
GitHub.
I'll just upload it into a GitHub and I will send the link.
Okay.
If you
Yeah.
want the presentation, I can send it too.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right.
I think a lot of people would want to have access to just, everything step by step. And so, yeah, the presentation will also be good. Just in case we don't have any software engineers in
Mm-hmm.
the team and they don't know how to use GitHub and, they can start out. That would be like a step by step guide.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. So, if you do not have any questions, I can just go to my next slide. Yeah. So, what we learned today is AI can automate note taking and summaries very easily, and the future of AI powered productivity is limitless. You can do a lot of things with it. Like you can create your own portfolio, that I very much liked. You can just use 2 3 prompts, you can use Streamlight and you can create your own portfolio and you can host it. It's that easy. There are so many use cases we have already discussed, so there are so many use cases, and Gemini API using makes this really easy. I'm going to show you one thing, how you can get your GCP API. So we saw how we have got the Google API for like the key for Gemini API using, but if you want to use the GCP key for to use like different libraries, I'll show you how we can do that. So we can go to the Google Cloud Platform. I'm gonna share the link, or Vanya, if you can share the link, that will be great. Like the Google Cloud Platform link. We can just sign in. We can go to our console. Give it a minute. It will be here. Yeah. If we go to our API and services, just go to libraries. Here are all the libraries you can use, like Maps for SDK for Android, Maps SDK for iOS, like if you want to use Google Maps, JavaScript API, Places, Cloud Vision, Google Drive API, Google Calendar. If you want that, you have an action item and you want to put it in your calendar, just use this API and ask Gemini that if I have a task, please add it in my calendar. So easy. Email, so many things. The one I showed is speech. Sorry, speech to text. So this is the cloud speech to text API that I use to convert the audio file to recording. If you click on it, my one is already enabled as I used it, but you will see instead of manage, you will see the option to enable API. You can enable the API and from there you can use it. You will need a key to use that API, and for that you have to go to this enable API option. So if you go to the enable API option, here is the option to enable the API. And where did you go? No, this one. Oh, no, wait, not this screen. Credentials, sorry. Yeah, so in the credentials scan, you can go to create credential. You can create API keys, service account. You can see I already have created API, the generative language API key I'm using is this one. This is the one I have used for speech to key. These keys are private, so I'm not sharing this, but you will have the steps in the recording GDT Edmonton is doing, and then you can always ask Gemini, and Gemini will tell you the step-by-step process that how you can use API for your cloud libraries for like speech to text, Google Task, Google Calendar. That is super easy. You just need that and you can make your apps. I know this the GCP key authentication might see a bit messy and you might not get, might be a little lost, but that's why we will have the recording and the ways how we can do that. And then you always have Gemini to guide you through it. Just one more thing I wanted to talk about today is to be careful when you're using AI, because AI generated code is not always correct. It can produce errors or inefficient solution. It might not be optimized. So please always check before you're like submitting AI code. Please once check that everything is working perfectly. There is no error and it's not like not optimized if there is any way to optimize it. Security risks, AI might introduce vulnerabilities if you're not reviewing the code. So another thing to consider. Third, as I already talked, testing is non-negotiable. Sometimes AI is writing a code for you, but maybe your customers or your audience might have different needs, and it might not cover all the edge cases, all the different cases that the user is expecting it to work. So please test before you deploy your app. Understand the code. Don't just blindly copy paste. If you do not understand it, please Google for it. Even you can just ask Gemini that, hey Gemini, I don't understand this line. You just copy paste and Gemini would explain what you are doing and why you are doing it. Don't write code without understanding what you're doing, because if there is a bug, it will be very hard to solve. If there is a more enhancement request from your audience, from your users, it will be very hard to do enhancement, makes changes, future more adding new features if you don't know what you have done primarily in your code base. And you don't even have to like go through documentation and all. You can just ask Gemini is there too. So just do your own investigation. And finally, AI is a tool, not a replacement, so use it to assist, but do not like rely your expert but definitely rely your expertise for the final decision. Don't rely on it blindly. uh, it will help you to boost your productivity a lot, but there are chances that you might miss something if you don't check what you're writing. So that is something I always say when you're a developer. Please check what you are doing. Don't do it blindly. And also I think as if you're a beginner, I would strongly suggest to understand the code, because if you're like, if you have experience, that's fine, you know what you're doing. But if you're a beginner and you're still learning, if you blindly trust AI or depend on it, there is a good chance that you're not learning enough, or you won't be able to do more stuff, solve more bugs, because you don't have the basic understanding. So don't forget to do that, don't forget to get the basics. Yeah, I sound like a teacher, I know, sorry. Yeah, if you want to have like more information on Gemini, how the API is going, you can go to this link, ai.google.dev. There you will get all the informations about Gemini API, how can you set up the key that I showed you in the beginning, how can you use GCP keys, and what APIs you need to do all the stuff. So this is a very good resource if you want to do a little bit of digging. And thank you so much. That was all from me. If you have any questions, I'll be very happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naz. That was a great presentation. A great and very useful presentation. Yeah, I read the chats and someone just said this is exactly what I need.
Oh, that's great. I am very happy that I can help.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I just wanted to say that with Gemini, it became so easy to build your own apps, and you can just customize. You don't have to depend on anything else. You can customize it in your on your own needs. And maybe you have a great idea. You want to do a startup. You want to start your business. Also, great ideas and very easy.
exactly. Yeah. And just like you were saying, increasing your productivity, it's important to understand the basics, but it will help you increase your productivity in that, those little pesky tasks that just take time, right? You can write a few lines of code and that would just automate that, right? And then it leaves you to then think about the other stuff that actually requires your input, right? So, yeah, this is really a good presentation. It's we appreciate your time. Thank you for coming to talk to us today and giving us a step by step. We appreciate that. Yes, we're recording this session, and so this session will be shared. I saw that someone had asked in the chat about that, and also the project will also be shared. The GitHub will also be shared for those who have experience with GitHub, but if you don't, we'll also share the project itself step by step with all the links. Any other questions? Just in case you're part of any groups, for the hackathon on Monday, this is a great workshop to, just get an idea for something to build. If, you're stuck right now thinking of what to build, or you want to maybe add something to the projects you've already started with with your team. Remember, there's a big prize money to be won. So you want to, do something great that would just pretty much shine on your resume. And on Monday, you can, add this session as a resource and just say, hey, I was in the workshop with Naz and she taught us this really cool thing and we implemented it in our project. So just in case you're part of the hackathons, you're part of the groups, this is something that you can incorporate. It would really make your project stand out. Thank you too, Andrea. And just because we're running out of time, I will. If you have any other questions, please send to us to our emails. Join our Slack channel. I'm just going to share my screen now so that I can share that QR code that I was talking about. So again, we want to say a very big thank you to Naz. She has, I mean, this is a powerful session. So we should leave here today coding smarter, not harder, and using tools like Gemini AI to help us with our productivity. Thank you again, Naz. This workshop was brought to you in partnership with Elio. And this is the QR code. Please scan this code to join the platform, to join our community on Slack. We have YouTube videos. So this session has been recorded and we'll be able to share the videos for this. The Naz's GitHub for this project will also be shared, as well as the project itself, step-by-step guide. So thank you again for coming to this workshop. The next workshop would be Beginner Blockchain Workshop by Alia. It will be hosted by Kim Woo, and this will be on Saturday, March 29th at 12:30 p.m. If you have any questions about this, just let us know if you would like to join the session, and I encourage you to join this one. This one will be another great session, just like today's session, teaching us something new that we can do with AI, but this time focused on blockchain. So thank you again. Thank you very much. International Women's Day this year will take place on Monday, March 31st at Edmonton Unlimited. It's a physical event. It will be an entire day. It will be packed. So come ready. Come with, all the momentum, all the excitement, all the enthusiasm, and don't forget to network. So even if you are part of the team and you're presenting a project, don't forget to network with a lot of people who would be in attendance on Monday, because networking is a great way to get your foot into the door for any company or any future career prospects that you're thinking about. So don't forget to network. Thank you
And
again. Yes.
would you mind to go back to the slide for the Elio workshop, please?
Okay.
So our audience can have time to scan the QR code to RSVP there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. So this is the event. This is the QR code. It promises to be another insightful workshop, just like today's workshop. I know a lot of people have questions about blockchain, and they're like, well, there's AI and then there's blockchain. And how do we integrate the two? So it's just like how Naz taught us today about how to improve productivity with things like transcribing meeting notes. We can also learn something about, Web3 and blockchain and what's new in that world, pretty much, and how AI can help us maybe create a career path or maybe get a job. It will be an insightful session for sure. And if you'd want to join GDG Cloud Edmonton, this is the QR code for that. We have a Slack channel. You can join, you can volunteer, you can spread the word. We are a community of just tech enthusiasts. And every year in March, we try to create an event where we celebrate women and other groups that are marginalized or don't have enough representation in the tech space, just making chances and opportunities, giving people a place to learn and skill up and have a career in tech. All right, so if there are no other questions, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Naz. We're gonna share. Do you have your link to? Okay, well, you're gonna share it in the document, right? For the presentation, and then yeah. So the GitHub link, and then the presentation itself with all the associated links. Any final questions or thoughts or suggestions or thank yous? You can unmute and say something, or you can put it in the chat. Hi, Loam. Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I'm asking this in the last minute, but I want to ask Nas that how is this AI thing affecting the role of software developers? I want to know about this thing.
So you want to like use this Gemini API with software development?
Yeah, generally the AI doing all the things for the development.
So
Yeah.
generative AI is basically what is it is models that are trained on real life data, a lot of data, and it can generate based on those trainings. Like all the data it has, it can make decisions on general stuff based on what data it has. So it has probably the a lot of data on how to summarize the meetings, like a lot of meetings and what are the action items from those meetings. So you, as they're trained on all those transcriptions and those outputs, from there the model learns and generates the output that you need from your input. So that's how it works.
Yeah, thank you. But my question is like the work software developer. Like for me, I'm starting my career as software developer.
You're breaking up.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
a bit. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm starting my career as software developer,
Mhm.
but like if AI is doing everything that the things that I have to do, then I'm like worried if this is the right path I have to follow. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know what will happen after 10 years from today, but for now, I don't think you're replaceable because, as I was saying, AI helps you, it helps you boost your productivity, but it doesn't like do all the work because you know your customer. It's not talking to your customers, it's not handling your clients, it's not fixing bugs that are causing weird problems for different use cases. Still they need you to understand your customer requirements, to understand what you're doing, and it often generates wrong things in wrong situations. Like that, maybe a simple code can be effective for one situation but not in another situation, and in those cases you will need it. You if you're doing a new thing, you need to write the complex algorithm by yourself because AI doesn't have those data yet, and if it doesn't have it already, it cannot generate it. So there are still things we can do, and in my work I don't see myself replaceable right now. I don't know what will happen next, but yeah, I think still it's a very good chance and opportunity. But yeah, definitely I don't know what will happen after 10 years, right? A lot of things can happen, but for now I think we are good.
Yeah, thank you. That makes sense. Thank you, Naz.
Yeah.
And just to chime in just a little bit there, it will be not in your best interest if you are not AI literate. So it still doesn't take anything for you to have the skills. At least know how to work with AI so that even if it's going to replace anybody, it will be people who don't have the skills to understand how AI is working. So it's still in your best interest to gain the skills and understand what it's actually doing, understand how to use it to improve your productivity, make you more efficient, but you still have, your understand your foundational work and understanding to do, and the, person or the personal touch cannot be replaced, just like Naz is saying. You can't be replaced, but it'll still be better for you to learn the skills.
Yeah, because if someone else is doing using them for productivity and you're not, they're definitely performing well than you, so you need to be on track.
Exactly. One, I just saw your hand up. Do you want to go?
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you, all of you, GDG Edmonton, Nas, of course, Vanya, all of you, because I think this is a great event. I was looking for this kind of events here in my city, but there's nothing. So thank you so much from here, from Colombia.
You can if you is there not a GDG in Cali, you can start your own GDG, Juan Manuel. I would encourage you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if maybe I can text you or something to try to understand how to do it.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
Uh, just connect with me on LinkedIn or I have shared the Discord server so you can join and then you can ask all the questions you want. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juan. Thank you, Naz. We really appreciate your time. And thank you to everyone else who joined. Luam for your questions, Carol, Andrea, Lena, Conrad, thank you so much. And yeah, just keep coding, keep being great. And just know that if you don't know AI, then you'll be at a disadvantage in future. Thank you again. And see you all on Monday. Have a good afternoon. Bye.